Hi everybody, it's Diana with StampingWithDi.com. How are you today? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my Mimeograph Monday with a twist, and I'm going to be using the Pansy, what is it called here? Pansy Patch. And it's been a while since I played with that one. And Mimeograph Monday with a twist means I'm going to be casing a project today. It's out of the main catalog, and then I will do a twist on it, and so that means I'll be doing 2 cards, and this has been a fun little series, and I love it if you also give me ideas. I just basically flip through the catalog and find a project that I want to do, and then that's how I pick it. And like I said, I haven't played with the Pansy Patch in a while, and it's a nice 2-step, it's almost like a 3-4-step stamping, because it just, the stamp does all the coloring. So if you have never been to my channel before, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Diana, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm in the very, very warm Santan Valley, and it's miserable here, so we are staying in. It was like 118 or something, and that's just unreal. And that's like, if you go out in the sun, it's even worse. So we don't do a whole lot of outside stuff in the summertime here. But so anyway, so that's what's going on here. So I'm going to turn my camera, so close your eyes just for a second. Adjusted. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to do out of the main catalog. So this is what I'm using today. It's the Pansy Patch, and it actually has a coordinating die. So if you like this, you might want to think about getting the die as well. So that's what I'm using. And the card I'm doing is this one right here. Now it's a little love note. I don't know if we still call them love notes, but it's a little 3x3 card, and these are great. They're simple and quick, but they're great to put on like a gift box if you give somebody flowers, just a gift bag, whatever. But they're cute little 3x3 cards. So this is the one I wanted to do. So I have my recipe here all ready to go. Now you can get my recipes if you go to my blog. My blog address is over here. If you go to my blog, and on the top it'll say current catalogs, and if you click on that, it'll open up another page, and you'll be able to see the current catalogs, and then underneath it'll say recipe. I don't know exactly the exact words, but when you click on that, it will open up a PDF, and then that's where I figure out what was used, and it totally helps me, you know, get it all figured out. So these are the supplies, and like I said, it is a little love note card. So it's like a little 3x3. So I have our little 3x3 envelopes, and I have done some die cutting ahead of time. Alright, so this is that beautiful, masterfully made DSP, and I just love all the texture and everything. It makes it look like you have done so much more to a card than you really did, because somebody else already did all that work. Alright, so I'm just going to fold this. Now this is just a 6x3, and I just scored it at 3 inches. And then this DSP is going to go on the top of it, and so you won't be able to see that card from the front, but it's just going to stabilize that designer series paper. So I'm just going to use some green tip glue. Now this is just our regular Tombow. I just put it in a little fine tip empty glue bottle. I get those off of Amazon. Alright, so this is just going to get glued right on here. And I use the green tip glue because it gives me a little wiggle room. If I don't get that quite lined up perfect, it gives me a little bit of play. Where if I use the seal, as soon as that touched the paper, it would be stuck. So definitely the green tip glue is good for that. Alright, so we have this simple. Alright, now we have, this is the little die from the Nested Essentials, and this and my stylish shapes. These seem to be the one I grab all the time, even though we have a lot of great dies. They just seem to be my go-to because I like the little stitching, and I love like little banner, you know, kind of shapes or whatever. So I totally need to make up some new banners for the studio, because now we've got some different sizes of these. So this is about the middle size. Let's see here. So these are all the size that come in the Nested Essentials. So you've got this one, this one, this one, and then there's a baby one in those little banners. And then there's these real fun ones. I don't know what shape this is. I just kind of say it's kind of almost like a coffin shape, which sounds horrible, but it is kind of what it looks like. So you have multiples in those sizes. And then you have the awesome, I've been using this shape quite a bit too, and it's just the rounded corner rectangle, right? So these are the ones that are in there. So it's a definite must if you haven't got that one already. And I need to put a magnet sheet in there, but half of them get done that way and half of them don't get done. Alright, so that was a little bit of a break while I showed you what that was. Alright, so now we're going to stamp our pansy on our shape. So the colors we want are Parakeet Party, Old Olive are our greens, and then the flower is going to be Azure Afternoon and Tahitian. So I think I need to have, I don't think having my plain grid sheet, I think that confuses my camera. So I'm going to leave that there. Okay, so I'm just putting my colors around here. And I also want this. Okay, so we want to do some stamping. So this is kind of like the detail one. So the detail one is going to be in the dark, and then the one that's got less detail will be in the light. So we're going to go to Tahitian, and we're just going to stamp that right on that banner tag. And then we're going to go right into Azure. Now you can't see it because it's off camera. There we go. So in Azure. And you can see where you need to line it up because you can see those lines. So there's our Azure. Or Azure. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. Alright. And then we have this piece, and it's a little bit bigger, so you're basically building your pansy. So that's also going to be Tahitian, but I'm going to stamp it off lightly, and that's going to go right in the center here. And then you have this center here, so it's going to be with the azure in the center of the daisy. So now we have this really fun daisy, you know, built on our little banner. So then we want our leaves. So the leaves are going to be that parakeet. So again, we have parakeet, and this is going to be the solid looking one, and then we have like more of a detailed one, which will be your old olive. So let's do our parakeet, and then our old olive. So what's nice about the photopolymer is you can see through so that you can get your things lined up pretty good. Alright, so there's that. We'll let that dry a second. These pads are fairly new. Tahitian and Azure are new this year, so they're nice and juicy. So it just takes a little bit longer to dry. Alright, so we have our thank you, and I just keep these strips. So when I'm cutting cardstock for my classes and events and things like that, I always get little strips when I'm trimming down you know, the little insert that goes inside the cardstock. So I usually have a stack of these little tiny cardstocks, and this is perfect for the thank you. So I'll stamp that right there. Oops, I went down, so down too far. Let me do another one. See, I have another one there, and I want to do it with azure anyways. All right, so let me bring this over here so I can see it a little better. Here we go. And I wanted it in the dark. Okay, let's see. So set that aside. Move our ink pads. They're just screaming to have things fallen in them. So let's bring our little card over. So here's the little card we got decorated. Now I'm just going to put this on with some dimensionals. So it pops off the card. So if you're just joining me, I'm doing my Mimeograph Monday with a Twist, and this is what is on page 27 of the main catalog, and this uses the Pansy Patch photopolymer stamp set. All right, so I'm just going to put this on our card, and this is just a tiny little 3x3 gift card or whatever. I'm also using the Starry Sky, and this is the metallic woven ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a pretty little bow right off the spool so I don't waste too much ribbon. Okay, and we can fiddle fart a little bit with our tails. Okay, now I'm going to put this on the card with a glue dot just to hold it in place for me to put the greeting on. So I'm just going to lay this on the glue dot, and then I'm just going to kind of pinch that glue dot around it, and then we're going to put it on the card just like that. And then we want our little thank you. I was a little down on this one too, wasn't I? Alright, so there's our little thank you, and that's going to go right over here, right over top of that little bow. So I'm going to take glue dot and a glue dot and pop it on here like that, and I'm going to put another glue dot underneath here. Hang on a second. I'm going to spin that off. I'm going to put 2 on this side, so it's going to stand up a little higher because it has a glue dot here, right? So like that. So now it'll be nice and even. So there's our cute little 3x3, and we can cut our tails. So a lot of you say you're not a big fan of the little cards. So I want to do, for my twist card, I want to do a regular size card. Alright, so let me just rip off a new fresh grid sheet. Let me put it this way. Have a little more room there. I'm going to do a regular size card this time, and I'm going to want to use the die. So the little die that I showed you, I'm going to use the die this time. I'm also, as well as the Nested Essentials, I'm also going to use my stylish shapes. And like I said, these two go together so well. Alright, so let's see here. I want to put my finished one off to the side so I make sure I do it right. Okay, so I want to stamp on some scrap paper. And we're going to do our, whatchamacallits, our little pansies and our leaves fairly similar. So I'm going to do just like I did before. So we have this big solid one. So I'm going to do my solid Tahitian, and then my more detailed So just like I did before, I'm more detailed with the azure. Again, that center. Stamp it off. And then that darker one. And this just builds that pansy just like before. Alright, but this time I'm going to end up cutting them out. So I'm going to, you know, when I stamp the leaves, I'm going to move over a little bit so I have some room. So I'm going to stamp a leaf and a leaf because I'm going to use the die to cut these out. So by moving them off, I can do it on the same page, but it's going to allow me to have room to put the dies. Alright, and again, Old Olive right over top of the parakeet. So these look really cute together. Now I also grabbed, there's this other little flower, and it looks like, you know, a pansy that is just starting to open. So I'm going to use that Tahitian. And then you've got like the detail part of it, and I'm going to do the azure. Let me turn this so I can see a little better here. Okay, so now we have another little flower. I'm also going to do happy birthday, but I did do a die for the happy birthday. So now what I would do is I would take this over and I would cut that out. So I've done that ahead of time just to save some time because I'm doing the 2 cards. So here's my pieces. And again, I'm doing a full-size card this time. So I have a full-size basic white, thick. I always like, if I'm going to use white for my base, I always use the thick. Then I have some DSP. So we have, this is going to go on the inside, and then we have this little strip on the inside. Now I kept these cards plain. I didn't put anything on the inside so I can use them, you know, personally, or I can send them as a thank you card, and then the person, you know, can use it as a note card, or if I need a quick little birthday card or something, then I can, you know, personalize it with a greeting. So I have left it plain on the inside, and I tend to do that. It's a lot easier to make up a bunch of cards and leave the inside plain, and you can always add a greeting later. Sometimes I even do that to the front. If I'm putting a tag on there, like the card I'm going to be doing here, it has a tag on the front. You could leave that off, and then the card would be really generic, and you would have it to use, you know, when you needed it. Alright, so here's the pieces. So I did the same DSP. So we're going to put that on the card. But this time I layered it. So I layered it on a piece of basic white. Like that. And then this is going to go on the front of the card. So I'm going to put some dimensionals right here. And since we're doing the edge, let's cut some of these edge pieces. And you could glue this directly if you wanted, but I'm going to use some, have a little bit more dimension to my card. Alright, so it's going to go on the front. That, and then you can see by using those dimensionals, because we have this white on white, and then you can see it leaves a little bit of a border, you know, just from the shadow as the light catches it. Alright, so here are my pansies. So what I did was I used the bigger, so it's the same die as I used before. I just chose and I went up a size. So I'm going to stick this on the card, and I'm going to put this on with dimensionals too. I probably should get a different pack out. But this just goes to show, don't waste any of your dimensionals. Use every piece. No one can really see these, you know. I mean, I guess if they really looked, they could see them, but I don't think anyone really looks and sees how everything's put together. All right, so we're going to put this on the card like that. And then these are my daisy pieces. Now, I also stamped, there's this little tiny circle. So let me bring this over. So what I did was, and you can tell I'm running out of my blocks. I've been working on the truck class, so I have all my truck pieces mounted. So I'm down to using like a greeting one for this little tiny thing. But anyway, so we have this tiny little, it's like a round triangle. And then what it does is it goes in the center of your daisy, which finishes, or not daisy, your pansy, which finishes it up. All right, and that was crushed curry is what I used for that. All right, so that's where I got, you know, this little yellow bit here. All right, this is also from the die, this really fun little vine, whatever, stem, and that's what's going to hold this little guy on. I have a couple leaves, and I'm going to put my happy birthday on here. So where's my happy birthday? Here it is. And I'm going to use the azure again. So happy birthday in the azure. And I'm going to stamp it off to the side a little bit. Okay. So let's add our pansy. So I know I want to put my pansy in the center, you know, fairly in the center with my leaves, you know, sticking out of it. So then this makes me know where I want to put this stem. So I'm just going to use the green tip glue, and I'm just going to run a little bead in here. And put that on the card. So I want it a little bit off, but not a lot. Like I don't mind it going above a little bit, but I don't want it to be too much off because it's fairly delicate. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue dots, and I'm going to put a glue dot kind of towards the edge here on my leaves. So it's half off and half on, just so that it will catch that pansy. So I'm going to put a leaf down here and a leaf up top. So it's stuck to my finger. A leaf up top. But by putting that glue dot half and half, it just allows me to have my leaf stick out a little more. Just, you know, I just like that look of it better. Okay, so then we're going to put this on the card. So basically that just is going to hold the leaf in place while we're getting the rest of the card together. All right, so let me do some more trimming of my dimensionals. Okay. We can put this on the card, and I'm going to put it over top of this, but I want my leaves to stick out. All right. Then we have this little flower here. So I'll just use a half dimensional on that one. So the die is really fun. Like the die will cut out like all your, like I could have stacked my flower and everything, but I kept it fairly simple. I like to have some dimension to it, but I didn't want to be cutting the whole pansy out. All right, so now we have our happy birthday, and that's going to kind of be stuck in here. So that's why I kind of did my greeting over here a little bit. So let's put some dimensionals on the side.
so Jeff went night fishing last night, and they were gone for hours. He was so excited about it, but it wasn't successful at all. But he says it was nice out there compared to, you know, the hot summer, but still, you kind of want to get a fish, because they got one out of all that. But again, they had fun. All right, so I'm just going to put my happy birthday right there. And this doesn't really need adhesive here, because it's just resting on that die there. All right, but what I do want to do, so even though I stamped my center of my pansy, if you have, you could leave the card as it is, right? Let me move this out of the way. You could leave the card as it is, because it's so cute with all the layers going on, and this DSP in the background really makes it look like, you know, there's so much texture going on. And you could totally leave the card as is and say done, you know, it's beautiful, because it is. But I thought I would put a little bit of bling on it, so I'm going to use my iridescent pastel gems, and I'm going to use these red orangey ones, and I'm going to put that in the center. So now my flower has like a center on it, and then I'm just going to drop a couple around the card, you know, just kind of here and there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that just adds just a little, you know, a little bit of bling. And one thing I forgot to do, which I did on my other card, and you can't hardly see it anyway, so it might not make that much of a difference, but let me show you what I did. So what I did was, that I forgot, I took my pansy before I cut it out, and I took my little splatter guard, and I'm just going to stand it up, and this is just going to keep any overspray happening. And I'm going to take the light basic black Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to use the brush side, and I'm just going to flick this in the lid. And what that does is it splatters out, and it puts some texture on my pansy, and I totally forgot to do that before I glued it to the card. So anyways, so just if you want to add some more texture. All right, so like I said, it's kind of hard. You might be able to, yeah, you can kind of see it when I get close to the camera, but it just adds a little bit of something to the flower. All right, so let me show you. So here is the catalog version, and then my twist. So let me know. This is the actual one I did on the camera though, so they're not much difference. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you like that little splatter. I love doing stuff like that. It's just that little tiny touch when things are too clean, right? All right, so hold on a second. Oh, I say see you later, alligator. Because some things are just, I don't know if clean is the right word, but sometimes you just like a little bit of extra splattery or shabbiness or whatever. But I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. So let me know what you think. It's getting a little warm in here. Oh, hopefully everything's okay with the air conditioner. Oh. All right, so I'm going to say see you later. I will see you tomorrow for my Teach Me Tuesdays, and I can't wait to share with you tomorrow. If you have any questions, if you ever want me to do something in particular for my Mimeograph Monday with a Twist, just let me know, and if I can, I will. Hopefully you like these cards. If you don't have the Pansy set, maybe you'll go, oh, I need to get that. Or maybe you do have it and you haven't played with it that
much, just like me, maybe you'll get it out and play with it. So, all right, I'm going to say see you later. I will see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Arizona time, same channel. Have a great night, everyone. Bye for now.